Hey, it's Michael Douglas on another edition of Dr. Pundit, where we talk about music, not medicine. And on this edition, well, I guess I kind of remember when. I guess the people who remember this most were at least maybe 10, 12 years old when this happened. And to be that age, they'd have to be over 80 years old. Because you see, on this day, 70 years ago, July 9th, 1955, Rock Around the Clock, widely regarded as the first true rock and roll song, hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, 3 years before the Hot 100 became the actual Hot 100 as we know it today. It was mostly the Top 100, which was an amalgam of songs played in jukeboxes and records sold in record stores. So more of a top 100, but a lot of music historians record the pre-1958 Hot 100 as we know it today as an amalgam of those things and tend to award #1 hits or top 10 hits or whatever ascribed to the combination of those two charts to hit the top 100, if all that makes sense. Regardless, this song was the first true rock and roll song to reach the top of the charts. And though it seems a little novel today, this song truly changed music forever. Rock and roll, or that devil cult music, a lot of antagonists really called it at that time, was finally accepted by the mainstream. You know, if record sales and jukebox play were really any indication, which you could argue that they were at the time. Of course, Elvis Presley was dubbed the king of rock and roll, and that is totally deserved, of course. But a lot of people can argue that this song by Bill Haley and the Comets, Rock Around the Clock, opened the door for Elvis Presley. After all, Elvis Presley wouldn't top the pop charts until 1956, a year later with Heartbreak Hotel. Now, some academic music purists will say that Bill Haley released a couple of very rock-heavy tracks, if that's what you want to call it, in the couple of years before Rock Around the Clock hit #1. For instance, in 1953, Bill Haley and the Comets released a track called Crazy Man, Crazy. That song hit #12 on the top 100. Then in 1954, a year later, they released their version of Shake, Rattle, and Roll. Now, a lot of artists in the pre-rock era in this country recorded versions of favorite songs by a multitude of other artists. And to say a song was a remake, especially at those times, was not only redundant, but it was really unnecessary because they put their own stamp to these overperformed songs by many, many artists. And so, yes, they were versions of prior recordings of the same song by other artists, but the way they were consumed at that time was as if they were done especially by that artist in an original fashion. So kind of weird to think about that as a concept, but that's the way it was before rock and roll certainly ushered in the individuality component to recorded music. Now here's a fun fact. Actually, Rock Around the Clock was a B-side to an original single released by Bill Haley and the Comets in late 1954. The name of that song, the A-side, was 13 Women and Only One Man in Town. That was the name of it. Of course, that song saw some chart success, but for some reason it didn't get it. I guess the band realized the potential hit they had with the B-side, which was later released as the A-side, rewriting history books a year later, 1955. Of course, adding to the song's success was the inclusion of the song in the movie Blackboard Jungle from 1955. That movie basically threw that song into the stratosphere. After all, it was played during the opening credits and 4 times throughout the movie. And of course, it didn't hurt that the movie was about rebellious teens in the mid-1950s, and this song only added to that fire. It actually made teens just want to go out and buy the record. How successful was the song? Well, it stayed at the top of the top 100 for 8 consecutive weeks. And a little bit less than 2 decades later, in 1974, the song was used as the backdrop for the opening theme to the hit series, which stayed basically on TV in its first run for 8 years, Happy Days. Even hitting number 39 on the Billboard Hot 100 because of the resurgence. On this day, July 9th, 1955, I'm Michael Douglas. If you like what you see here on the channel, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe. And as the late great Barry White always used to say, let the music play. And I'll see you on the next episode.